Greetings, everyone. I'm Jay,
I'm Colin.
and this is Star Wars Conversations Solo Edition.
Or any edition, to be honest, because we haven't had one for so bloody long.
That's true.
It's the who are these guys edition.
How's it going, dude?
Yeah, awesome, man.
You're
Awesome.
watching Solo?
I've only seen it once.
Only once, really?
I know. I'm thinking of going to see it today.
Oh, you should go and see it today. I've watched it 3 times now, but I'll tell the story of my first time in a little while, which went wrong. And then I've seen it twice after. I saw it last night. I really enjoyed it. So, I mean, it's an interesting one because a lot of people aren't willing to go and watch it. And
I don't know if I'm not willing to go and watch it.
There are, because there's people going. I mean, I've had people message me and they've gone, I didn't like The Last Jedi, so I don't think I want to go and watch this one. And it's like, but it's got nothing to do with The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, go watch it. Like, you can dislike it, sure, but check it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Because I mean, what? Based on Last Jedi, you won't go watch Episode 9. It's a different director. It might be good. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. So we're going to talk spoilers today, right?
Yeah.
So if anyone is listening, is anyone listening, is anybody out there? And you haven't seen Solo, then it might not be a good idea to listen. But we hope you have seen it because we'd like you to listen.
Sure. I mean, we're not going to go line by line through the film.
No, but we'll talk about some major plot points and stuff like that. I'm sure will come up during the course of this conversation. So, and also you got the new Solo guidebook, didn't you?
I did. That's pretty cool.
It does look good.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not as good as the Rogue One one. It hasn't got as many cross sections or anything like that. Like the Rogue One Ultimate Guide had all the cross section. It basically was an amalgamation of the guide, the encyclopedia, the cross sections, and this one again for a Star Wars story is basically.
Is this the visual dictionary?
It's the official guide. So basically, for the Star Wars story films, they don't do individual cross-section visual dictionary. They just do one generic book. Yeah. So that's why the Rogue One was so good, because it had everything in it.
Yeah.
What I say about this one is, it's more of a visual dictionary than anything else. It's got a few bits of the ships, but it's not got any cross-sections or anything like that.
That's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, so effectively it is a visual dictionary, I think, of anything, which is why it's a little bit... I mean, it's still good, because what I found about the actual film was that even though there was amazing characters and costumes and stuff, you don't really see them very well. A lot of the scenes are really dark and people in the background, but this makes me really appreciate how much went into the costumes and the characters in the background, because you just can't see them.
And actually, someone in our comments section on the group mentioned about the movie being quite dark, didn't they? And I, the first 2 times I saw it, I didn't really see that. I didn't really pick up on that. Last night, though, I did. Last night I was like, there are some scenes that are quite dark. And
did you have sunglasses on?
No, I was sat more to the side last night though, and I wonder if it's just angry looking at the screen now. I don't know, or if it is just a different projector or something. But the last night when I was watching,
you see in 4D?
Scenes, no, I haven't done that yet, man. And obviously, my wife's pregnant, and I don't think it's a good idea to put her in those 4D seats.
No, definitely not. But, I saw it in 4D on the first showing, and it broke down 3 times before it started. Brilliant.
No way.
Does
it do something before the movie starts?
Huh?
Does the 4D seats do something before the movie starts?
No, but they kept starting the film 3 times.
Oh, okay. Oh.
And basically, so I saw the midnight showing and saw it at 1 o'clock.
Oh God.
And I had to work the next day.
But also, hey, there's all these problems with the filming of this movie, and now when you go to watch it, there's problems too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the 4D effect.
They make you feel part of the problem.
So general thoughts on this film, then, man?
I really liked it. I went in there. Obviously, we keep up to date on what's going on with, as the movie's getting ready to come out. We've talked about it a few times, and as beforehand, I'd said to you that I was starting to get quite excited for it. So, and especially once Ron Howard came on, I was like, oh, cool, that's a good thing. I'm glad.
Hey, yeah,
I was sad that Fonzie wasn't in it.
So was I.
But yeah, I mean, I sat down in the cinema. I didn't get to go to the midnight screening this time, and
because you're not a proper fan.
Yeah, the movie starts, and Solo's trying to start the vehicle. I can't remember what he's doing. He's like hot wiring it.
Hot wiring.
And then he sits up, and he's got panic on his face, like he's being chased. And the moment he sat up and looked at the camera like that, I was like, it's Han Solo. It just worked for me straight away. And so I saw it, and I was like, cool, and I just got on board with it. And I really enjoyed the movie, man. People were going, oh, this film didn't need to be made. None of them need to be. The Obi-Wan movie doesn't need to be made,
no.
But, if they're going to give us some little backstories on these characters, how Han and Chewie met and all that, cool. It was a good, fun adventure film, which really is what I want out of a Star Wars movie. I want it to be a fun adventure movie. And we talked last time about The Last Jedi and how rewatching
we're disappointed with it now.
Yeah, when I watched it in cinema, I enjoyed it. But then when I got it on Blu-ray and I put it on, I was just like, I'm bored, And the funny thing is, I remember coming out of The Last Jedi when I first watched it and not feeling like, wow, that was so good. I was like, yeah, no, it was good. I liked it. I was kind of a bit like that. And so I guess that led to eventually my enjoyment dropping a bit. Whereas with Solo, I came out, I was like, that was cool, man. I really enjoyed it. I liked to see the story of him as a youngster, how he ended up where he is. I liked seeing him meeting Chewie, and I liked seeing his interactions with Lando, and ultimately how he gets the Falcon, which I thought was quite funny. And so I enjoyed that. The thing I would have liked to see, which apparently is going to be in the deleted scenes, and was a scene that the Kasdans wanted in the movie, which ended up getting cut right near the end, was that there was more stuff with Han in the Imperial Flight Academy and getting kicked out.
Oh yeah. I think that was a bit that I would like to see more. I mean, I get why they didn't, because this was purely like a heist movie type thing. Yeah. But yeah, if they'd have had more time, that would have been a good bit to explore.
So apparently, that it was then, and in an interview, John Kasdan said that it was right near the end when they were putting the movie together. They're kind of like, what, we have to cut it. It doesn't work with the overall movie. And he
there'd be a comic or a cartoon or something that spends the 3 years Han Solo spent as a
yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I mean, it was filmed, and it is going to be one of the deleted scenes that we get. But unfortunately, they had to cut that. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I really enjoyed it. What about you? How was your general thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've talked about it all the way, this whole journey with this whole film being created, all the way to it coming out, where I wasn't super excited about it. Again, you said it already, we didn't need it. I didn't ask for it. But when you watched it, I enjoyed it. And, we even on the group today, so someone on the spoilers group said that, I've just seen it. And my view is...
so that was Martin?
Yeah, mine. Yeah. My view is, at the end of the day, I found it at first a bit hard to get into it, just because you're thinking about, are these actors any good? You're thinking about, what the hell is this story? Is this even, what is this story about? You've got in your mind all the problems that have been had on, making the film, and so it took me a little bit to get my head just to actually enjoy the film. Right. Particularly with the problems with the bloody screen not working. But more and more I think about it, I really did enjoy it. As you say, I'm the king of just wanting a simple, easy film. I love Justice League just for the fight bits. Do you know what I mean? I watch most films just for fun. I want to be entertained and taken away from crap.
But also, that's what you want from Star Wars. Star Wars is the popcorn flick. You want to have a good adventure, a bit of excitement, a fun story. And I mean, look, I'm quite lucky in the sense that I can go into a movie and I switch off. I don't care what happened on set or anything like that. It's not important to me. I just want to see what's the end product, what am I getting here. And I went in, and I'd already sort of like seen a few things, I think in like the trailers, and I said to you, I was like, I think Ordinary Reich will be quite good. Actually, interestingly enough, Anthony Gruber, do you know who he is?
No.
Anthony Gruber is the dude that does the Han Solo impression. He kind of looks like him. He played a young Harrison Ford in Age of Adeline, and he does the voice of the Joker in Telltale games. Anyway, he was the guy that most fans wanted to play Han Solo in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And there was kind of a campaign to have him, and this Ordinary Reich guy is not going to be any good. Blah blah blah. All the same bollocks that you get. And then on this same interview with John Kasdan, someone put, it's disgusting that Ordinary Reich was the first guy you saw, and then he ends up being Solo, and Anthony Gruber didn't even get a chance to audition. Blah blah blah. Don't tell me Disney listens to fans. All this stuff. And then John Kasdan replied and said, actually, Anthony Gruber did audition, as did 1,000 other people, but Ordinary Reich had something that they didn't have, and that's what we wanted. So he did audition, and that the reason I mentioned that is because there were actually a lot of people who wanted this guy,
Yeah.
And it's like, just because he can do an impression of Harrison Ford doesn't mean that he's the right guy for the movie. And there were times where I think Ordinary Reich got the mannerisms just spot on. There were times where they weren't, but then at the same time, this is not Han Solo as we know him. This is the guy becoming the guy we know as Han Solo.
I would say he didn't come across as a super strong lead in the film. I think he was outshone by quite a few other people in that his presence wasn't there. But again, as I say, I think that's part of who the character was. He was very much he was the Luke Skywalker farm boy, really.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, because even there's a bit where Lando says it to him, he goes, "Shh, grown-ups are talking." And it's like he's in the background trying to like get, and then Tobias Beckett mentions it at some point. He goes, "You're good at sticking your nose in where it's not wanted," because he's like up behind going, "What's going on?" So he is slightly in the background, but I think, as you say, it's him becoming the man he's to be. So
let's have a quick chat about the portrayals then. So first of all, you've got the three characters that we already knew: Lando, Han, and Chewie. I thought they were all spot on.
The first time you hear Lando, so when he's just introduced and he looks over and sees him playing Sabak and he's talking, he sounds exactly like Billy D. Williams. At that point, it's just like, I couldn't believe how well he did that impression. And I was like, that's great. Then, of course, like, as you talk to him, he kind of made it his own, but he kept the Lando-isms in there. I thought they were all really good. As I say, with Ordinary Reich, at the beginning, I saw it. Just to go off that, the bit of the movie that I probably like the least is the bit with Madame Proxima. I didn't like that so much.
The beginning bit.
I like the beginning with the chase, but it's actually when he's in front of Madame Proxima, she's this big worm, and she's going, "That's just a rock." Like, I did find it funny that he'd pretend, because that's what Solo would do, right? He'd try and wing it. But it's just, that bit seemed a bit kind of comedy. It's not a major thing. It wasn't something I like absolutely hated, but that was probably my worst thing in the movie. So if that's the worst thing, it's not that bad.
Yeah, gonna say, that's good.
I think that Han was good. Chewie was great.
Chewie was spot on.
I love to see Chewie fight more though as well, right? Because we've never really got to see that. We get to see him rip someone's arms off. We get to see him just kick ass. Like, I love that bit when he's pushing the trolley filled with a hyper fuel, and it starts sliding back down the hill, and then Chewie just busts out in front of him and just kicks all the guards' asses. Brilliant. And I like how Chewie's mate is some really fugly Wookiee. Like, what is wrong with his face?
Because my mate who I saw it with, he was like, "God, the effects are rubbish on that other Chewbacca." And I'm like, well, first of all, now Wookiee is not Chewbacca's, and two,
it's a costume.
I think it's supposed to look ugly, but he's going, "Cool, they've saved a bit of money on that mask." I'm like, no, I think it's about, I mean,
it's a cheap one.
According to the official guide, it's because that fella's been in there so long.
Oh, is that character in there?
Yeah, he's in there. Let me tell you his name. Buddy. Might as well make use of his book. Sagwa.
Ah, okay.
Hailing from the inland tree city of Wuruko, Sagwa was taken prisoner after he attempted to defend his fellow Wookiees from Imperial patrols. Years of toil on Kessel have taken a terrible toll on Sagwa's body. Despite this, he continues to selfishly try to spare weaker slaves from the most brutal mining duties. And he is one ugly mofo.
It really is. I mean, it just looks like a Planet of the Apes mask, really.
It does, doesn't it? He looks more, yeah.
But I mean, the old Planet of the Apes.
yeah. Anyway, so Chewie was wicked. I love his introduction as well.
Yeah.
The Beast.
Yeah.
That was so cool. I mean, I guess it was him straight away. But it really reminded me of Return of a Jedi when Han.
The Rancor?
Yeah. No. Oh. And also when Han's taken into the prison cell and he hears there's someone in the prison cell with him, and you're not quite sure at first, and it's Chewie.
Yeah. It's a good little nod back to that. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that I got from it was that the life debt thing's been dropped with Chewie, because I didn't see that at all.
Well, again, he didn't necessarily need to have the life debt in the first 5 minutes, did he? But
they didn't. But I mean, it's always been an assumption, and probably based on the old expanded universe, and that is that Chewie owes Han a life debt. But from what I gathered on this, because I was looking at it last night. Okay, Han helps him get out of there, and then he helps him by giving him a staff so he can go and help his friends. But Han doesn't help him with that. But then when they get out, and it's when Lando runs forward to help L3 after she gets shot, which I was happy when she got shot, by the way.
Talk about that.
Yeah, right. And then Lando's picked her up, and he's running back, and he gets shot. And then just in the middle of all the gunfire, Han just runs for him, and Beckett's like, "No, don't!" And then it flashes Chewie's face like Chewie's looking at him, right? So there were two scenes that led to me just thinking it's actually more of a Chewie's like, "I want to be here."
Respect,
because it's the scene where Beckett says, the Crimson Dawn don't know you, and then Han's like, "Well, the money works for me," and then he says to Chewie, "Do you want to be here?" And Chewie's like, "Yeah," right. So it's kind of like Chewie's like, "Yeah, okay, this guy's all right, and I can make some money out of it." And then in that bit, it came across to me that Chewie looks at him and goes, "This guy will do anything for his friends." And I think that makes him kind of like, "Yeah, I'm going to stick with Han." It kind of felt a bit more like, like a brother kind of. Yeah. Feeling.
I mean, it's an interesting point, Joe. I never thought of it, to be honest. But I guess it's never been mentioned in anything. Actual canon. I can't remember if it's in the Aftermath books if they mention the life debt or not, because they obviously go back to Kashyyyk and stuff. So
you'll know better on that, because I haven't read them. I read one of them, the beginning of one of them. But,
no, wait a minute. Isn't one of the books called Life Debt?
Is it? Well, then I'm interested to know why, because it's not mentioned in this movie, and
let me have a look.
And I don't really pick up on why he has a life debt.
Let me have a little look.
Do you know what I mean, though? Because you're going to watch it again today, so certainly look out for it, and then I'd like to hear what you think afterwards. But I'm pretty sure you're right there. I think one of them is called Life Debt.
It is called Life Debt.
Yeah. So you've read it, so I'd be interested to know what that talks about, because watch the movie again.
Because they go back to Kashyyyk, and they do, because they've been enslaved again. First. Okay. Yeah.
They're not very good, these Wookiees.
So the life debt might not have stemmed. I mean, I did think to myself, well, what, after reflecting on it, there was nothing obvious where he's earned a life debt. But equally, I thought, well, it could just be something that's built up over time,
Yeah, I mean, but then that's just a mutual friendship, right? Because there's no debt. Yeah. Watch the movie again. If you're watching it today, have a look out for it and tell me what you think. But I didn't really pick up on anything that suggested that Chewie felt bound to Han in any way.
Yeah.
And it always came across more of a "I want to be here" rather than "I have to be here" kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I like that they didn't go into how Han got his chin scar and he just had it. that was good. Yeah. He's just got it.
The Life Debt book, just it was something. It just said, it was about Han trying to fulfill his life debt by freeing the Wookiees that have been enslaved. So
So yeah, what? Maybe it comes later, and Han helps Chewie free other Wookiees. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
I don't
so
know. It's a
just
good
out
point.
of this movie, I didn't see anything to do with it. I'd say I like how Han just had his chin scar and they never mentioned it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, he
That's
cut
about
his
the only
chin
thing they did.
sometime. They need
Yeah.
to mention that, you know. It was
What
quite
about?
gone.
Sorry, I was just going to say, what about some of the new characters? What do you think of them? Like LV and Dryden. What name is Dry?
So L3 I hated.
Yeah,
I
I
found her
thought.
really annoying. Like, and it's because it was like, so look at like K2 for example, right? K2 was really sarcastic and stuff like that, but it was
Yeah.
humorous. Now with this one, she's just like a feminist, and
Yeah,
but one of
and
the
a
obnoxious
robotist.
ones, one of the obnoxious types. You know, not one who's just like it's just like she's just obnoxious, and yeah, and then obviously Lando's meant to be pansexual and he's meant to be in love with her, which
That bit just
which
weird, wasn't it?
look, there are sex robots and I get how they work. They're probably quite comfortable. I can't see how she'd be comfortable in any way.
No.
But yeah, and then what I disliked even more was that this arsehole character, after she gets killed, becomes the personality of the Falcon. It's like,
Yeah. I mean,
really?
I thought that was quite funny, actually. And to be honest, it does sort of fit with the Falcon bit, from C-3PO's discussions
Uncooperative,
with it.
yeah, I guess so, yeah. Um,
But again, you didn't need that, and that was really a weird thing to include.
yeah,
And
it's like
and also,
forcing it,
to be
right?
fair, she was hardly in it, and which was good.
Yeah,
But I was surprised, how little she was in it, considering, again, a lot of the characters weren't in it as much as I thought they were going to be.
no. I mean, Val
Yeah,
surprised me. I thought she was going to have a much bigger role when I first
yeah,
watched it.
well, good, really good.
I liked Val. I thought she was a good character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the way she went out was cool as well. Like, she sacrificed herself. But
Mm.
yeah, I expected her to have a bit much larger role, especially as I've seen Thandie Newton on quite a few interviews and that talking about Solo. Like on different shows and that. And it sounds like, oh, she's got a big part in this movie, and it's like, no, she doesn't. She's got like about
What
15 minutes.
about what about Woody then? What do you think of Woody's
I liked
character?
his character. Yeah, and actually, this was one of the points I was going to make. I like that his character shapes Han Solo in a big way.
Yeah, very.
Like he calls him kid all the time. That's what Han Solo does, and he actually does it at the end.
Mm.
He says it's Memphis Nest at the end, and I like how he's like, don't trust anyone. People are predictable, all that stuff, which obviously all plays out. And then he goes, "I've got one more lesson to teach you, kid." And then Han just shoots him, and it's like
Yeah,
they rectify the Han shooting first, which made me very, very happy.
yeah,
And
no, really
also,
good.
that was obviously the lesson he was going to teach him. But and in another interview, Lawrence Kasdan was asked about the Han and Greedo thing, and he goes, "As far as I'm concerned, Han shoots Greedo under the table, and that's it."
Yeah.
And he goes, "The only way you could change that is if you went and messed with the movies, the original movies."
Oh, that's good.
And he goes, so, and so, because throughout the movie, when I first watched it, I was really hoping at some point Han's going to shoot someone. I was like, they've got to fix that. And then they did, and that made me very happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
What
liked the
about?
character. I liked how he was like spinning his gun. I love the scene when Han first sees him, and he's in the Imperial uniform, and he's a silhouette. And he's
Yeah,
just shooting all these guys, and he's like spinning his guns and shooting. Han's like, "You got to show me how to do that," And also,
yeah.
I like that he wore Lando's Skiff Guard uniform.
I know.
That made
Yeah,
me happy too. That was
the
a nice
origin
little
of the
touch.
skiff guard uniform.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
well, Lando just has it on his ship, right?
Yeah.
So he used it, and in that scene, he was good as well. He just thought, "Hey, hold this for a second," throws it, shoots everyone. That was cool. I thought he was a good badass character. He's gunslinger. He was the older gunslinger. He's the head of the. It's a western, right? He's the head of the gang,
Yeah.
the train robbery, and all that stuff. And yeah, I liked it, and it played out good. He was the Han's mentor who betrays Han, but Han kind of knew he was going to. And
Yeah.
you
What
know,
did you think of Dryden then? I thought he was really good. I
I
really
did
like
like Dryden.
Paul Bettany.
I
Yeah.
did like him. He played it really well. He was a really interesting character, and he was really sinister as well.
Mm.
Like when he turned on the nastiness, he was nasty, and then he followed it up with well, let's party, you know. And
Yeah, I thought it was so
cuts back
fun.
in and he's
Yeah,
nasty again, and it's just like he played it really well. I liked that.
and that's the character was going to be played by Matey Boy, wasn't it, from The Wire?
It was, although if he was playing it,
It'd
it
be
was
very
going to be an
different.
alien for some reason. They were going to make him an alien, and I actually posted some photos of the concept
Mm.
the other day. You wouldn't have really seen Michael K. Williams' face. He would have been some kind of
Well,
alien.
there are only 2 black people in space, so,
I know, right?
so that's why.
Why couldn't you have him? Because he'd play that role really well. I think he'd have been a very different character. I don't think
Yeah.
he'd have been the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked him. And again, I like that they didn't give us an explanation as to why he has those scars all over his face. It's just that's who he is, you know.
What about Kira then?
I liked Kira. She's probably the thing with her is that Emilia Clarke.
I don't think she's a great actress.
No, I don't. And she was playing herself in some of the scenes, and you could really see it. There was some scenes where she played Kira, and when she did, she was good. And then there were other scenes where she was just her, and there were times where it didn't really seem to fit with the character. Like it was almost like she came out of character sometimes.
Yeah.
And in watching it, I could pinpoint those scenes. Like if we were sitting there watching it, I'll go, now she's just being her. You know what I mean? And I wonder, because obviously only 80% of this movie is reshot, and the Lord of Miller bits, they did a lot of improv apparently, and I wonder if those scenes are the improv scenes. Do you know what I mean? Where because instead of like staying character because she's trying to improvise, she just ends up being her because it's almost.
Have
like
you got an example of a scene so I can look out for?
There is a scene, and it's like the bit where she's talking to L3 in the cockpit, and she's saying, "How would it work with Lando?" Right? And at first she's kind of like acting like what, and then afterwards she's almost giggling. She's like starts like giggling, but it looks like she comes out of character, and it's Emilia Clarke. Especially if you watch Emilia Clarke in an interview, it almost looks like she's just her in an interview, like just joking around, right? And there's a couple of other scenes where that happens. Off the top of my head, I can't think, but they're all ones. I think it's on the Falcon as well. I think it's another scene.
I'll look out for it, mate.
But yeah, you'll see there's bits where she drops out of character, and it just seems like you're just watching her. The character of Kira, though, I liked. I thought she was an interesting character. I like how she had her beginnings with Han. They started off the same, and then she actually mentions at the beginning that if this goes wrong, this could happen, that could happen. You could be sold to Crimson Dawn, blah 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 blah. And then obviously it goes wrong, and then the next time you see her, she was sold to Crimson Dawn, and then she's very different now. She tries to act a bit more regal and stuff, and I liked her character. I thought she was good. Memphis Nest. What did you think of Memphis Nest?
Well, I thought it was good. I found it a little bit confusing because at first I wasn't sure whether or not the Memphis Nest we get in the train robbery was the same Memphis Nest we get in the deserty planet, whatever it's called,
right?
Because it was so much bigger, and there was something that there was a line she said about how there had been other Memphis Nests, and I wasn't sure whether they meant from that line that the Memphis Nest had died in the beginning bit, or I'm just a bit confused by that.
She mentions that Memphis Nest was her mother.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And you're right. That Memphis Nest is different, and the voice is different.
Yeah.
When Memphis Nest has the helmet on in the desert compared to when Memphis Nest is like, "You will die, Dragon Fast," the voice is different, right? And
also much taller in the beginning.
It seems so. Yeah, it seems bulkier.
Yeah.
I thought so too. Now the thing with Memphis Nest, and this was something that I didn't like. Well, there's a bit I did like, a bit I didn't like, and the beginning was the one I did like. I like the Memphis Nest and the Cloud Riders were Marauders. Little side note: Lord and Miller named them the Cloud Riders based off a gang from the Marvel comics, the old Marvel comics from the 80s. That were called the Cloud Riders, and they were Marauders, and they had swoop bikes and stuff like that. So they made them a biker gang. And Kasdan's like, yeah, cool, that sounds good, and went with it. So at the beginning, when they attacked them on the train, I thought that was really cool when they came in and you see her front on, and she's like leaning into the bike, and she's like, get them, and all the sweet bikes go flying past and everything, and have the fight on the top of the train. She's a bit of a badass when you see her fighting and everything, right? And I like that there's a baddie gang of marauders that go around and they're trying to steal stuff too, and an opposing gang of outlaws. Awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't like that they
become rebels.
Yeah, and I was just like, really? Do we have to have everyone, forming?
I mean, it was a bit Disneyfied in the fact that they had to be noble and good. I mean, to be honest, it made sense for the story. I thought actually, because it made a twist.
Ways.
But
it gave us
it was, but it was a we thought we were dealing with bad. Like I said, there's no. To me, apart from the actual proper baddie, there was nobody who had shades of dark, which is the thing. Which is the thing we used to have in the original Star Wars. Was that people were people. They weren't either good or bad necessarily. Whereas in this, they were either good or they weren't.
Yeah, and so then they all unmask themselves, and it's like we're
and then they put that mask on again, which annoys me.
Yeah,
fucking mask on.
Yeah.
Marvel,
also,
DC.
We're allies, she says. Well, no, because of you, Val got killed, and so did Rio.
Yeah.
Your guy jumped on to my ship and killed my mate, right?
Yeah.
That's not addressed, and it's just like, and then as you say, now we've shown their face, we're going to show their faces? No, because again, in the originals, Fett kept his helmet on, Vader had his helmet on right till he died. Everyone kept their helmets on. So put your mask on. And what's the deal with the Golden Rhodian? Since when?
I know. I like
the Golden Rhodians.
Gold Rhodian.
You know what I mean? Like I thought that they were green and that was it, but now we've got a golden one now. Okay. Anyway, So that was probably one of the other things that I wasn't big into. I kind of get.
Is he a Godian?
Maybe. I know that. I'm not saying that the Rhodian or something like. I mean, the whole thing with the Cloud Riders being actually we're good guys. I get how it played it into the story because it allowed them to ambush Dryden Voss's men and all that jazz, and it went along with Han's plan with the hyperfuel and everything. I wonder if that was a bit of an easy way to do it.
Yeah,
but
again. This isn't a complex story in the day.
It's not a complex
story. There's no surprise. There's one surprise which we'll talk about in a second. But apart from that, there's no surprise in the film. You can guess what's going to happen pretty much every step. But again,
that's not a bad thing, though. That's not always a bad thing.
So let's talk about.
But I did just want to say that whole thing with Memphis Nest at the end actually made me like the character less. I liked the character more when they were more.
Well, again, it seems they can't have a badass that's just a badass.
Yeah.
Like Tam Posner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you see Tam Posner?
They can't. In that?
Mm-hmm.
No, is he in it?
Tam Posner's in it. I like to think it's not actually Tam Posner, it's just another one of those cops because it would be stupid if it's the same character. But when Han's playing Sabak at the beginning with Lando, Tam Posner's over his left shoulder, Tam Posner's standing there.
Oh,
so
cool.
Look out for that.
So again, it's they just can't seem to have badasses for the sake of having badasses.
No.
So let's talk about Maul.
Okay, so that's the spoiler character, and I thought it was quite cool. Kira kills off Dryden Voss, tells Han how she loves him pretty much, and he makes her smile, and she's like, I like the bit where she goes, go and save Chewie. He needs you, and you'll need him. That's cool. And then she's so, I guess, indoctrinated into the Crimson Dawn now that instead of running and going with him, and I guess partly out of fear of what would happen, she puts Dryden Voss's ring into the computer and opens up a hologram, and Darth Maul's sitting there complete with cybernetic legs, which I think people that haven't watched the cartoons will be like, huh? But, I think most fans
all that did for my friends that aren't following anything else apart from Star Wars films were like,
timeline.
When the hell was this film set?
And Ange asked me the same thing. She's like, so when is this set? But yeah, it's cool to see him. It's good that it's Ray Park because obviously he looks the same, just older. That's
Which
cool. I
he
like
is.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that Sam Witwer done the voice because I don't think he does a good Darth Maul. I think he
I prefer Peter
Serafinowicz. Yeah, Peter Serafinowicz to me is Darth Maul's voice. Sam Witwer makes him a bit too. Yeah, Sam Witwer makes him posh.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the Rebels. How Rebels and turned him into an aristocrat weirdo.
Yeah, and I don't like that. But anyway, that's the voice that Disney want to go with now. So I guess that's Darth Maul now. He's an aristocratic weirdo instead of a badass fighter. But yeah, so it's just a little cameo, and he kind of says to Kira that pretty much she's going to replace Dryden Voss as his top dog there, and he wants her to come to him, and they're going to go and hunt down Beckett and his associates. Which
so do you want a quick fist of theory? Since we haven't done one for long.
Only if you say it.
Fist of theory. So my thoughts are now they've announced the Solo and the Boba Fett film. Well, not official. I don't know how official these announcements are. You'll know better than I would.
Disney haven't actually officially said it yet.
Right. Well, now let's talk of these two films. My view is that they're not going to do a Han Solo trilogy.
Wait. Talk of these two films? What two films?
The Boba Fett one and the Obi-Wan one.
Oh, okay, because you said the Solo and the... I was like, are you talking about Solo too? But
No, I'm talking about those two. So my theory is they're not going to do a Han Solo trilogy, but these three films will in fact be linked together by Maul and the Crimson, whatever they are.
I've heard this theory before.
Oh, well, that's probably because I've already said it a million times and everyone's copying me.
Oh, okay.
But that's my view, and I think that's what needs to happen. Actually, I'd be happy with that. If that's what they're going to do, that's great.
I think that is what's going to happen because at the end, Solo says to Chewie that Beckett mentioned a crime boss who's got
and it'd be like a mini sort of shared universe type trilogy of film.
He actually says a crime boss that's putting together a team. I don't think this is going to be the one where
Han
drops his ship.
Drops his load.
This will be one where he's working with Fett, I think.
Yeah.
As much as I do think this is what's going to happen, that is going to sadden me a little bit because I am really not interested in Fett at that period of time. I'm interested in Fett after the Sarlacc. I want to see him come out of the Sarlacc, and I want to see, what happens.
I'd rather him be dead.
I want it to be, I've said to you before, the old Tales from Jabba's Palace, where he uses his jetpack to detonate, and Dengar finds him and all that. Because if he is this badass, that's a real shit way to go. And I want him to, I want them to redeem the character. Because even George Lucas himself has said that Fett's not dead.
He's not dead.
So
I mean, the thing is, though, it seems Star Wars likes to kill its villains in really rubbish ways. Like Maul in Phantom Menace was killed rubbishly.
Yeah.
Well, not rubbishly, but he was very quickly.
But it was
obviously
he suddenly goes, huh? And he's all confused and turns around really slowly and gets... Yeah, he suddenly goes from being really fast and cool to, huh?
Maybe that's why he went so posh, because his nuts have been cut off.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, good theory. Fist of theory, there you go.
Fist of theory. And obviously Snoke was killed rather untimely. What else? They just like to kill people quickly, don't they, and not make the mess of them. But just quickly going back to Maul, I hate the fact that Maul came back. I love the fact that Maul came back because I love the character and they should have killed him, but I hate the way they did it, and the fact that someone's been cut in half and they can survive that. And I know Anakin Solo did it, but he was picked up almost immediately by Palpatine, and he used the dark side to keep him alive.
But if it's the same, the dark side to keep him alive as well, right?
Yeah, but not as quickly being put in the most an advanced medical thing that the Emperor's got at disposal.
Yeah.
Whereas Maul was in the middle of a sewer, and built his own legs from using that was a load of...
Yeah, I know what you mean, man.
That was too much of a stretch.
And now you're like, well, then other people should be able to do it.
Yeah, no one can survive anything, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because if you can survive having been cut in half, You know what I mean?
See, now Fett's one inside the Sarlacc I can buy because you're so
Yeah.
digested over 1,000 years.
And you
so
don't
he
see.
uses the jetpack to
All you do
explode.
is see him fall down the hole. You don't
Yeah.
fall into a mouth effectively. Anyone can survive falling into a mouth.
Yeah. And then, supposedly in the books, he blows up his jetpack, which destroys his armor and injures him badly. And he
which
manages to crawl out. So you can say, the guy's got a lot of will. He's meant to be this badass bounty hunter. Crawls out and collapses, and then Dengar finds him instead of...
You don't want to get sand in your wounds.
But then instead of killing him, he takes him back and his wife heal him. And then they sort of form a bit of an alliance. And I like the idea of that, because we don't see enough of Dengar. And I'd be quite cool with getting a movie where you get Fett and Dengar doing something. That'd be cool.
Can I just say, Bosk is now my favourite character. I love Bosk.
I like that he's mentioned.
Yeah, because I've been playing him loads on Battlefront 2, and he's he's just a fun character to play on the game.
Have you found Alf yet?
Alf?
Yeah.
On what, Battlefront 2?
Well, as Bosk, because he's looking for him, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he's looking for him, but no, not found him.
No. But yeah, I mean, I like that Bosk is mentioned.
Hey, Willie!
I like that Lando is like, Becky, you're the guy that killed Aura Singh. And he goes, Krishna is the fool that killed her. And I was like, okay, so now we got little Aura Singh's dead, and we know why. Which is cool, because she wasn't there with all the bounty hunters in Empire, so they let us know that she ain't around anymore. That's cool. There's a book coming out, isn't there, of Beckett? They're doing a book about Beckett.
I'm not going to read it.
You have to. You're the guy that reads the books.
I haven't even finished Last Shot yet. Still, I can't be bothered.
But yeah, but this was always the danger of what would happen with all these books and everything. It's like it's going to get too much, and then you're kind of forcing stories. And as people said that this didn't need to be made, this one.
Yeah.
The truth is, and why I say none of them need to be made is because you don't need to know everyone's backstory. You don't need to. They are just the character that they are when you meet them, and that's it, and that's fine.
Oh, by the way, in the comics, Poe Dameron is now set after The Last Jedi. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to start reading it. Just heard that. So that sounds interesting.
So between The Last Jedi and Episode 9, I take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to... So maybe there'll be, I think you predicted, there'll be a bit of a time jump.
I think there will be now.
I
really do think there will be.
Which I think would actually be good in some ways. In the, hopefully... Kylo's advanced a little bit, from where he was, and he's now properly the supreme leader and everything. I still think they should recast Leia. I think that we should definitely get her story play out. But yeah, no. Overall, I liked Solo. There were so many things, so many little nods in there that made me happy. And Lawrence Kasdan's always said that the one Star Wars movie that he's always wanted to write was a Han Solo movie. So he got to do that, which is cool.
Yeah.
I would like a sequel, just because at the end of it, I was like, I would totally want to see more of this. I totally want to see these actors in the role again. I'm more than happy with them. I really enjoyed them playing those parts.
I could.
You might be right about Maul tying it together and all those. But if Maul's tying it together and where Kira went at the end of the movie, do you think that Kira is going to now become an enemy?
Yeah,
to Han.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because the only thing I did pick up from the Last Shot book was that he was really gutted about having lost the love, and at the end of that film, I still didn't feel quite that story was finished. So,
right, yeah, it's not, is it? Because he's standing there and he watches her fly off in the sail barge, and she's looking back, but they do it in a way she's looking down at him, but she's closed all the shutters and there's a shadow over her, and it kind of makes her look dark as she's looking down at him. And I do think that she genuinely did have feelings for him, but I think that her duty to the Crimson Dawn far outweighs that.
It's more survival, I think. Not duty to anyone. I think she's out for herself.
Yeah. Well, should we wear them all now? And he had his new double-edged lightsaber there. They had to put that in, which apparently they added afterwards. They had them all seen.
Yeah,
it didn't feel right, so they added the lightsaber to make it a bit more look, double-edged lightsaber, you know.
It's definitely Darth Maul.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No one understands why it's Darth Maul, but it's Darth Maul.
Well, that's it, you know, because that's one of those things, isn't it, where they always go on that, oh, we're not making these films just for fans, it's for everyone. But then they put something like that in that only fans will know about.
Yeah.
It's like everyone else is like, huh? What?
Fans of 5-year-olds.
Last time I saw Darth Maul, he was dead. Like, what? You know, so, you know,
1999
no
or whatever it was.
What's going to happen then in the next one when Maul's chatting to Kira? Is he going to go, yes, in case you're wondering why I have robot legs, I got cut in half and I fell down a hole, but then I used the Force to put myself together. I was kind of like a spider. Then my mum sent my brother to come and find me, and you know, I went
insane for ages.
Is he going to like go and tell her the whole story? So it's like, here's a little recap, everyone. This is what happened. Just another thing, they could have had a starting crawl on this one because they put up 3 little bits of writing.
Yeah, I mean that basically was a crawl, wasn't it? Effectively,
it was. I didn't mind it, but they could have just had a crawl.
So I tell you what I thought they should have done. They should have done a voiceover like the original Blade Runner.
Yeah,
I would have loved that.
Yeah,
I think that would have worked better as a voiceover.
And they should have got Harrison Ford to do that.
Yes,
yes, like
or Billy D. Williams.
It's like telling the story.
Yeah, that's what.
Apparently,
should have started with Billy D. Williams at Ham's funeral. I think.
Apparently, Billy D. Williams has been seen getting in shape
the gym.
And,
I've heard that.
And people are going, is he about to be in line? I hope so, because it's just a bit weird that he's not.
It's not. Yeah, I agree. He should be. Well, they haven't got anyone else from the original trilogy now.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You got to put someone in. Go. Imagine if he doesn't make it to 9. It's possible he's old, right?
And he's fat.
Hopefully, he'll be in good shape after this.
Just one other quick couple of things that have stemmed from this film end. So first of all, Kathy Kennedy, right? And, and let's talk about this perceived how crap this film's done.
Yeah.
Which I just think is a load of rubbish.
it's not that. It's because of how much it costs to make it.
Yeah, but that is their own fault because they messed it up so much. Now, I've seen quite a few YouTube videos now where people are talking about Mrs. Kathy Kennedy's end of her days, calling for her to be done. A lot of people are saying that by celebration next year they'll be announcing a new Lucasfilm president. What's your thoughts on all that?
I don't think they will, but I get why they're saying that because she has. If you look at the whole time that she's been in charge, there've been so many directors that they've had on board that they've fallen out with, and they haven't been able to. A lot of their movies have had trouble, and and
it's openly trouble as well. It's not even like behind the scenes. There's been a few bad words.
Which happens on everything, right? But I think that she, these are things that she should have sorted out early on. And if you're getting a director on to do your movies, surely you vet them a bit and find out if they are the right person, and you have chats with them and make sure that you're on the right page. Because it's things like the film's halfway through production. Let's take Solo, for example. It's halfway through production, and then they realise they're not on the same page. Well, surely you should have worked out what your direction's going to be before you start filming the movie.
Yeah.
And as the president, she should be having these conversations, and she should be she's the one that should be in control of it all.
Right.
The other thing that people are complaining about is the movies that are getting made and that she's greenlighting them. So the Solo one, for example, everyone's going, oh, it didn't need to be made. Well, my thoughts on it. None of them need to be, and that she's going with that instead of going in a new direction. Well, we don't know that for sure because you've got the Jon Favreau series coming, you've got Rian Johnson's new movies coming. We don't know what they're going to be, and I guess there is a certain amount of safety. Rogue One, they told us a story which was new characters, but it was a story that led up to the original movies. A story that we didn't know what happened, but now we do. And then Solo is a safe character, so it's most popular of the Rebels, so, hey, we're going to tell you a story about him. Obi-Wan, now a lot of people have been wanting an Obi-Wan movie, so they can't complain about that, because they've been wanting
But they will.
Of course they will complain.
There's a lot of people, a lot of people saying they don't want to see, and I'm in this camp, I'd rather not see a film about these people that, we don't need to go back.
No.
But now they've established this little mini micro universe storyline with Solo. I'm actually quite happy if they do set a few things in this period.
Yeah, because I thought it was done well, and because I liked the characters and I thought they had good charisma and good screen presence, I look forward to seeing them again.
And I want Ron Howard back.
And so do I. Yes, I want him to get to do the movie from scratch himself. Yeah, and I'd hope that the Kasdans would come back and write it, because
they should.
To have them with him doing it from scratch would be nice to see. I mean, the Boba Fett one obviously is going to be James Mangold, who I'm really happy about that, because he's done some great movies. 3 Sense of Humour I love. Obviously Logan he did, which was great. And so I think that he could make it quite cool.
Fuck off, Logan!
And because of 310, I know he can do a Western. And I think that would be good.
Do you think... So I personally do think Catherine's days might be numbered. I think she has dropped the ball way too much. What I also am really questioning now is some of the decisions she's made, like giving Johnson a trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to actually happen. Particularly, I mean, do you think that the performance of Solo is going to make Lucasfilm more cautious, or do you think? I mean, I definitely think they should be sticking to one film a year.
I think that the way that this will happen is how Episode 9 does, because Solo, it's made the least amount of money out of any Star Wars movie ever, but it had a double movie production cost, right?
But it is also #1 movie in the world, as you have been telling me.
Exactly. And I mean, look, and people were put off after The Last Jedi, which is unfortunate, because I don't think that you should judge Solo on that. I think it's a much better movie.
If it had been directed by Johnson again, I'd think about it.
Well, I was going to say, my concern now is that Johnson's been given his own trilogy, and after watching The Last Jedi again and having it on Blu-ray, that's dropped my confidence in that.
To be honest, though, I'm happy with Johnson having a trilogy if it's a separate story and it's doing what he wants to do in its bit of universe.
There'll be new characters and all that,
and that's fine, because then it doesn't affect my trilogy.
I didn't think that Looper was a great movie. It was okay, but so what I mean is that he's going to have these new characters, but is anyone going to really want to watch it? And that's something I'm concerned about, because then if you took another director, let's say Jon Favreau, he's been given the series,
TV series,
if you go off his movies and they said, Jon Favreau's been given a trilogy to do, people would be like, I'm all over that.
Yeah, but I'd rather them do a TV series. I think the key bit is, because we've talked about this before, in that Star Wars is such a big, wide universe that there can be lots of different things going on.
Oh, yeah.
And so long as they all do different things, I'm happy. And I'm happy that they give Rian Johnson a chance. I personally think that he shouldn't, because he's shit and he's ruined Star Wars. But I haven't got a problem with him doing something if it's. I think the more pressing problem that they've got is Star Wars saturation, and having too much Star Wars might be a problem.
No, I don't think so, because you're getting 3 Marvel movies a year, right? But they've managed to make all those movies compelling viewing, right? Because they all connect and they all work.
Because they've got a strong person like Kevin Feige.
Yeah,
exactly. This is why I think Kathy is failing.
And so that's why I say that it's going to depend on what happens with Episode 9. Because if The Last Jedi put people off going to see Episode 9, and if Episode 9 doesn't make at least $1 billion domestically, then you'll see the question come up about Kathleen Kennedy.
I don't think they'll wait that long, because there's too many things in development.
No, I think they will, because those things are in development and they're going to go ahead.
Yeah, but I
think that Episode 9 will be the one that breaks camel's back. If Episode 9 does really well and it's beloved, then people won't talk about this anymore. If Episode 9 doesn't do so well, then this will become a real question. And that's only the end of next year, so it's not that far away.
It's diminishing returns, and I think no matter what, I don't think the Star Wars films are not going to start increasing. I don't think anymore. I think you had the uniqueness of The Force Awakens, but that was it. And I think the films aren't going to start getting better and better. They are going to slowly
The Last Jedi
have
made a
less
shitload
views.
of money.
It did, but it didn't do as well as Force Awakens, did it?
I think though, the one thing that you're saying about multiple movies per year, that is different with Star Wars, and not because of the direction from the leadership, is that Star Wars always used to be an event movie.
Yeah.
Like it always was like a special treat.
Yeah.
So when you have it in Christmas, and I think Solo would have done a lot better if it had opened at Christmas.
100% agree.
It's almost like, hey, it's Christmas, it's Star Wars time, right?
And it's more time to get over The Last Jedi, because I think people actually got excited about a Star Wars film again. Then they would have gone to see it regardless of whether they hate The Last Jedi.
No, I agree with that. And that's the reason I think one Star Wars movie is good, because if you just make it like a little Christmas treat every year, then you're going to get people going out to see it. And I think that they made a mistake here. And you know what? But with it being a spin-off movie, one of the Star Wars story movies, you can experiment a little bit, right? And I think that's what they were doing, really. Let's see, what's going to happen. If we do the May 25th release date, is that going to get people coming out? Like, could we do one then and one at Christmas as well? I think that the best thing to do is just do one at Christmas. But I think that if
also this summer was so crowded with other films, Avengers, Deadpool 2, everything.
Exactly, it was right in the wrong place. There's too many things coming out. But look, if you put out all your movies are top quality, right?
Yeah.
If they put out the next spin-off movie, let's say, was it Obi-Wan next? So let's say, or Boba Fett, whatever. Let's say it's Boba Fett next, right? Boba Fett comes out and it's like the best. It's just like such an amazing movie. And Episode 9 is such an amazing movie. And people love both of them. And they're just, oh my God, everyone's talking about they're great movies. If you keep putting out that quality movie, which Marvel do, they do put out very, very good movies. They've got the odd one or two that aren't so great, but most of them are excellent and everyone loves them. You could potentially get 2 movies out a year. But if you've got ones like The Last Jedi that are divisive and make fans kind of split, and then when you rewatch them, you're kind of like, I didn't enjoy it so much anymore. Now you're getting into territory where it's like, well, let's wait till Christmas. As you say, give me the year to get over it. then I'll watch a new one, And I think that at the moment, they're in the year place. If they get things right and they start, it's the thing you said about Infamous Nest at the end. They Disneyfied it in the way that everyone had to be like, no, we're goodies, yay. You have to get away from that because you don't need to do it. They have dark stuff in those Marvel movies, right? And they're Disney. So get away from that. Make it how we all talk about how it should be. And then you're on to winner. Right. Anyway,
you're a winner, Jay.
Thanks, dude. Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Right, we're hitting an hour mark now, so
let's go then.
We should wrap it up, yeah? Okay, so thank you for joining us. And if you want to speak to us or read stuff that we post or chat to us,
how are your questions, Jay? You asked for questions. There were a couple that come through.
And no, we got a question from Frank. Frank did drop a few on there for us. I meant to address it. Obviously, we haven't spoken for a while, so we're going to talk about Solo this week. So we'll keep those questions, and then next week we'll...
So make sure you give us some questions.
So yeah,
because we're 100% be doing next week.
And those, you can do that on the Facebook group called Star Wars Conversations. You can also find us on Twitter at Star Wars Convo. I'm at 1933 Eagles. Colin's at
Captain Colin.
We're on Instagram at Star Wars Convo. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. And we're on the Taylor Network of Podcasts. Tell them about it, Colin.
The Taylor Network of Podcasts is a website and a feed, podcast feed, where you get lots of different pop culture, geeky podcasts and all the latest news about what's going on. Great examples like Go Track Yourself and Double Page Spread and Sunday Comics and Nothing's On and TARDIS Podcast. There's a load of great ones. All your geeky needs, comics, TV, films, it's all there.
There you go, it's all there. Right, that'll do it for us then, and until next time,
punch it, Chewie.
I'm going to go paint a room.
F.